and the Master of Management Information Technology, all from Charles Sturt University. And these group of masters, there's a few other technical ones as well, are collectively called the IT Masters courses at Charles Sturt University. And the reason for that is, as you'll see, IT Masters actually deliver some of the subjects, and there's a lot of focus on industry certifications as part of the Masters. You might wonder where I've got some pictures of wine there. I do like wine, but that's not the reason. We're going to give away a couple of bottles of CSU boutique wine to the person that asked the most interesting question on the way through. The way you can ask questions is just type them into your chat box. The Q&A box, sorry, not the chat box, the Q&A box should be at the bottom or the top, is it?
Bottom, I think. Depends on your computer.
Depends on your computer. It may be at the bottom or top, but you'll see a box there. Feel free to just type in, and we've got a couple of people waiting to answer questions. Anything not answered during the session we'll get to afterwards, in other words, if it's too complicated. And you'll also receive an email recording of the presentation at the end of after the session. Introductions. My name's Martin Hale. I've got a couple of different roles. I'm CEO of IT Masters, and I'll explain who we are, IT Masters, in a minute. And I'm also an adjunct senior lecturer at Charles Sturt University. Here's the agenda. I think you'll find it covers most of what you're interested in. We've been running these for a number of years now. Some people say we should just start with the fees, but I'd like to cover the structure and that beforehand. Have a look at admission requirements, and also have a look at why you might select CSU to do your study for your MBA computing or your Master of Project Management or the Master of Management IT. And finally, at the end, we'll have a period for questions. Just type them in. We won't close the presentation right at the end, so you'll have plenty of time. But as I said, on the way through, feel free to just type in questions as you go. Just talk about the target audience here. Master of Project Management, we focus on IT a fair bit, but we've had plenty of other project managers come through and successfully do the program. And talking to the graduates, they felt it worked for them as well. But it is a fair bit of focus on IT as you'd imagine, with a IT Masters involved. Big growth area, IT project management. I always say to people, it's a fantastic career to get into. You'll never be out of a job, providing you can deal with the stress, because it can be a pretty stressful job. So that's a very big program to us, the Master of Project Management. And then we've got two ones aimed at IT management. The third one, Master of Management IT, mainly aimed at supervisory type level. So you might be just moving into management or aspiring to move into management. And as you'll see, what's different about that is we've got half of it is full-blown management, but the other half is technology-based. It may be cybersecurity, it may be networking or cloud or whatever. You'll have the option of keeping your technical skills up as you go through. And the one in the middle is for more senior management, the people that are looking to move into executive or senior IT management. They might be in a middle level or supervisory position and looking to move up from there. So, oops, gone the wrong way there. Let's go the right way. Course structure, they're all the same, these three courses. There's 6 university subjects and 6 what we call industry certification-based subjects. And these subjects are based around the most popular industry certifications from, say, the Project Management Institute or a group called ISACA who do IT management certifications. Just wondering, is that a picture of me there, Holly? Who is it?
That's just a stock photo of a computer student.
Okay, that's one of our students there, studying away furiously, slurping hopefully coffee or maybe CSU wine out of a mug to keep focused. And there's 3 semesters. We don't call them semesters now because semesters are normally 2 a year. We have 3 sessions per year. The recommended study load is 2 subjects per session. So if you do the math there, 12 subjects for the masters it should take you, as a part-time student, which all of our students are, by the way, it should take you 2 years to complete your Masters. On average, people take a little bit longer. 2.5 is probably more the norm, but we've had people finish very quickly as well, especially ones that get credit for some of these subjects. And I'll cover that in a minute, how you can get credit. I'll start by having a look at the MBA computing. Remember this one I said for senior management, executive IT management particularly. Typical core MBA subjects there, things like finance, yuck, but really pretty important if you're going to be in senior management. And then subjects, quite a number of industry-based subjects. These are normally the ones with the MGI suffix. So for instance, MGI 511 is project management fundamentals built around the base level certification with the Project Management Institute. And then you've got a couple of other service management, service quality management. There's IT quality management standards and certifications out there. So we built that subject around the most popular of those. MGT 573, strategic practice, again, a typical MBA type subjects. And then you've got 2 groups of electives. So we started with 8 core, and if you remember, it's 12 subjects, so you've got another 4 to do, and we give you a pool of electives to pick from. Firstly, what we call industry-based electives, which are, again, these are normally based on industry certifications, and also, by the way, delivered by role model instructors who are working in the industry. So there's a few different options there, and then you've got a whole pool of Group A electives, which are academic electives. So again, you've got to pick 2 subjects out from there. There is actually a much larger pool than that available. And if you see something you're particularly interested in, they're pretty flexible about letting them do as elective. But what they're not flexible about is your core subjects. You have to do your core subjects. Okay, my thing is not moving down. Sorry, I've got a bit of a glitch here.
Not changing slides.
No. Sorry about that. Now we're back on board. There's the Master of Project Management. It's very popular masters, this. This is project management. It's a big growth area. You've got your core subjects. 8, and as you imagine, lots of project management in there, again, built around industry certification wherever possible. For instance, MGI 512, the project lifecycle, built around Prince 2 certification. Leadership, project leadership has a lot to do with the PMI, PMP certification. So not only are you studying the subject, but you're also being prepared for the certification as well. If you've already got the certification, you would be up for credit for the relevant subjects. And then we have a look at the industry elective subjects. Again, IT 518, Agile Project Management, big area, very, very popular with people, get lots of queries about this. Project Management Institute have a certification in Agile, and we decided to build that subject around that. New subject coming up, which will be absolutely fascinating, I'm sure, is MGI 531. That's just being introduced, project recovery. So we all know that projects never go off the rails, but just on the off chance they ever do, this is about looking at best practice in terms of how you get it back on the rails, or lo and behold, the decisions made to actually can the project. And then we've got our Group A electives, a group of management type electives for you to pick from. And again, there is a larger pool available there, but they're the main ones. I mean, MGT 540, management of change, a critical area for all project managers. And I'm being a bit of a marketing person. MKT 501, I think, is very important, even to project managers. You do need to, at different times, market and sell your project. And the third one, Master of Management IT. This is a very broad master's. Maybe not it looks like the others when you look at it on the screen there, but we didn't list all the subjects because you would need many, many pages to do that. So what we've got here is 6 instead of 8 core subjects. Again, most of your core management subjects like strategic practice, management theory and practice. And then in the specializations, a very broad range of specializations you can pick from. So to do that, and I haven't listed them again because there'd be far too many on the screen. For instance, the cybersecurity specialization would have a pool of cybersecurity subjects for you to pick from. And as would the project management specialization if you want to do Master of Management ID project management as your specialization. You don't actually have to do a specialization. You can actually just pick and choose from right across a very large pool of subjects. But if you want to have that on your graduation certificate, in other words, the name of your specialization, you'd need to pick 4 from the specialization. And then we've got that 6 and 4, we've got 2 to go. And what we got there is a pretty broad pool of academic elective subjects for you to pick from. Just have a quick look at a couple of example subjects. Project Management Fundamentals, I think I mentioned before, prepares you for the PMI Certified Associate Project Manager. That's their lower level certification, but at the same time, because they're quite similar, just the level is different, the Project Management Professional Certification, which is extremely popular. It's the #1 certification in the project management industry. Pretty tough certification. So there's your learning objectives, which again come from the Project Management Institute, PMBOK, the Project Management Core Body of Knowledge. We've built a lot around those. And the fundamental reflects, the actual assessment reflects that. Your big assessment at the end is a project management plan. So you need to be able to demonstrate that you can do based on what you've learnt during the subject. And then you've got a major critique article at the, as your middle assessment. And here's what project managers do. Someone who solves problems who didn't know they had in a way you don't understand. Yes, I would go to that.
So these are actually off the forums from the last few weeks.
Okay, that's,
Quite
sorry.
a vibrant community in
You may have missed that, but yes, it actually came off one of the student forums. That's their definition of what a project manager does. Yeah, they're quite lively. The forums. This is where, sorry, I should explain. When you do a subject, this is where you interact with all your other students. Now, these students are all studying by distance education. A lot of them are working as project managers during the day, or they're just maybe on a project team. And they could be in the next street or anywhere in the world. About 90% are in Australia, but we do have a smattering of people from around the world as well. And let's have a look at, just a quick look at a technical subject, just for network security. 3 lots of assessments there. Four lots of assessments. There you go. I can't even get that right. Pretty unusual. We normally have 3, but some of them have 4. And I assume we've got a picture of a dragon there, so you can slay the dragon if you pass the actual subject or ace the exam. And another dragon, because whoever put these slides together loves dragons, we've heard. Another example subject is project recovery, the one I mentioned before. Principles and concepts that are derived from practical experience and converted into a framework that can be universally applied to any failing project. Unlike a lot of the others, I mean, we couldn't base this on an industry certification because there isn't one. It's interesting in itself. But we certainly pulled a lot of the research and the current best practice, industry best practice. And we've got a fantastic guy out of Singapore who is our lead industry-based project management instructor. And he had a lot of fun pulling this together. Should be a fascinating subject. Just a quick background to the CSU IT Masters Partnership. We first started working with Charles Sturt at the end of 2002, and the concept we brought to market was a concept of a master's with industry certification subjects embedded in it. And these are good examples of the three masters we're talking about today. Half of the subjects, approximately half, 5 or 6 of them out of the 12, are based on industry certification. It's important in a couple of aspects. Firstly, it forces us to keep current. It's a bit nasty if you run a subject supposedly preparing people for the Project Management Institute PMP certification, and for instance, you're not studying the very latest project management core body of knowledge, because they get a nasty shock when they go into the certification exam. So it keeps us current, and it keeps us. It gives us something to go to market with, and something unique to talk that our students are covering compared to other universities. We've got 3 roles. We market the masters to the industry, research and identify opportunities to further expand the range of masters. For instance, that project recovery is a good example. And we support students while they're studying the industry certification subjects. Bit of marketing speak here. Why would you do distance ed with Charles Sturt University? Well, we're easily the largest provider of distance ed. And might you study IT management, IT project management with Charles Sturt? Well, we're also the largest provider of IT postgraduate study. That's just the domestic. We also have an awful lot of overseas students as well. So we're coming to dominate that field. Why do we dominate it? As I said, I think it's the unique nature of the courses we offer, especially the alignment with the industry and the certifications that, let's face it, that the industry has built and wants. Study load, how much work is it going to be? Well, obviously it depends on your experience level. If you're enrolled in the MBA computing and you've got a strong management background, you're not going to have to do anywhere near the work that someone with who's fairly new to it would have to do. So, but I've got as a guideline, it's 6 to 12 hours per subject per week. That's probably a bit high. That's what the university requires us to say, probably to cover us a bit. Probably 6 to 8 from talking to graduate is a more likely. So if you're doing 2 subjects, 12, 14 hours a week, you're going to have to find somehow. Typical study pattern that people get into is 1 night a week. Maybe on the night we have weekly webinars for you to attend. You don't have to attend them. You can watch a recording, but come to the live ones if you can after hours. And a lot of them will do some study before or after that. And then maybe a day on the weekend every now and again, or a couple of other nights. If that's all gets too much, and it's pretty normal that it does, it's definitely okay to drop back to 1 subject or take leave. Just send us an email saying, look, it's all got a bit much at work or home or whatever. And you can drop back to either 1 subject, or lo and behold, you can actually do no subjects and take leave and really get your life in order before coming back. Just 1 criteria there, you need to do that before census. There's 4 weeks into the study session. Every single session you have the option of pulling out up until 4 weeks. After that though, that's it. You're expected to sit your exams, and there not normally refunds on people who can't complete their subject. Fees and charges, $32.50 per subject. They're due at the beginning of each study session. They should be tax deductible, provided this is relevant to your work or to your career. That includes everything. And as I mentioned, with that, remember census, which is 4 weeks, that's your option to pull out if you're getting behind or struggling. Just about all domestic students, and as I said, that's over 90%, or use fee help. You'd be crazy not to, really. It's a government study loan. It's interest fee, covers all your fees. And just be careful of this. We've had some people come back and say their accountant has told them there's a 25% fee. This does not apply. This is full fee postgraduate. So there is no loan fee as there is with undergraduate Commonwealth supported positions. And repayments begin at approximately 50%. If you go up on the fee help, just Google postgraduate fee help, you'll find all the details there. Admissions, you normally need a bachelor's degree to do a master's, but over the years we found, lo and behold, there's lots of people, successful people in the industry who don't have a bachelor's degree. And so these days we have an industry experience pathway into it. And we call it it's a graduate certificate pathway. What you do is 4 subjects out of the masters that you want to do, and providing you pass them, you're then into the masters with full credit for what you've already covered in the graduate certificate. So in fact, you've then got the option of having 2 qualifications as well. So probably a sensible way to go anyway to do the graduate certificate. I call it the toe in the water because it also would allow you just to, rather than go down the full master's path, you could just enroll in, say, the graduate certificate in project management, which is part of the Master of Project Management. And it's a fully accredited in itself postgraduate. It articulates to the masters with full credit. And you would be graduating in only 12 months, which would be nice. What's the bad side? Well, there isn't any actually. In fact, there's a positive side. You would then be alumni and you would get, Holly, is it a 10% discount? 10% discount on your subsequent student fee. So I suggest you go down this pathway anyway, just to enroll in the graduate certificate and then roll into your masters at the end of it. Credit. Credit is available 3 ways now. Firstly, for industry certifications. If you've got your Prince 2, CSM, a whole range of the major mainstream IT industry certifications, even some of the technical ones, depending on if you're doing the Master Management IT, you would be up for credit. We're not going to make you study into subject and you'd probably be very bored if you did. We would give you credit for the corresponding subject. Also, previous academic at a postgraduate level within 10 years. So you might have started an MBA with someone else and only done a couple of subjects, for instance. Providing it lines up well with the existing subjects, you would be up for academic credit. And we have a new way. If you go up to the IT Masters website, you'll see we run free short courses in a whole range of things, project management, cybersecurity, whole range of things. If you complete 3 of them, you would be up for, it's a maximum only of 1 subject credit though. So they're normally 4 or 5 weeks in duration. They have a multi-choice exam at the end of them. So have a look at that. You can claim credit at any time before you start, during, right up to graduation. The maximum credit available though is 50%. You can't get any more than 6 subjects of credit. Some people have asked, well, I want credit for the whole lot. I don't even have to do any study. Well, no, they don't allow that. You actually, if it was a master's, you would need to do 6. If it was a graduate certificate, you would need to do 2 of the subjects. To find out about credit, go up on the IT Masters website. We get several thousand of these forms a year. Fill out the Am I Eligible form, and it will tell you 2 things. It will tell you that you're eligible to get in, either based on your industry experience or your past qualifications or combination thereof. And secondly, and probably more importantly, it will advise you of any credit that you might be up for. It only takes 5 minutes. I strongly suggest you, even if you're not ready to apply, you're just having a look at this stage, go up and fill it out. At least you'll get a feel for what credit you might get. Particularly given we're doing an MBA here, I thought a section on what's the return on investment from your degree. You might be able to use this if you want to talk to your partner about why you're going to need to study for the next 2.5 years, for 10 to 12 hours a week. So I searched around and said, what's the return on investment from a university degrees? And the data I think is most valid was the Australian census data, where you're asked to fill out how much money you're earning. So we actually got that from the Australian Bureau of Statistics, and we found out for IT managers, for instance, and IT project managers, which are both separate categories they can pull that data out. And let's have a look at their average annual wage with no uni qualifications, with university qualifications, and the total difference over, we picked an arbitrary amount here, 25 years, assuming you're going to work for 25 years. I don't know if that's still valid these days. Who knows? So the way the pension age is going, we could all be working till we're 80. So let's have a look at what that shows. So it does, the good news is, I probably wouldn't be showing it if it didn't. It does show a noticeable difference in earnings between the different categories. And the big standout ones are ones like IT managers, which a significant difference between the two. Okay, so these are people filling out their census, and I'm an IT manager, but I don't have any university qualifications, and that's the average earnings. And then I'm an IT manager and I do have a university degree, either undergraduate or postgraduate, and there's my average earnings. There was a difference between undergraduate and postgraduate, but it wasn't nearly as big, so it's graduated between the two. And project managers as well, a significant difference. So if you get that difference multiplied by 25 years, for project managers, 249,000, which would say this is a very good investment. When can you start? The next intake starts on the 21st of May. We used to have to apply months beforehand. This is when we first started with the university, but things have changed. And today they'll take applications right up to 16th. Is that right, Holly? 16th of May, which is next Wednesday. But you need to get a wriggle on if you want to make that intake. Just get up and at least have started your application up on the CSU website, we know you're coming and we can start the process in terms of getting you enrolled. Even if you haven't got, not that there's a lot of supporting documentation these days, but if you haven't got some of the supporting, just submit your application and preferably before that date, but I'd get onto it pretty quickly. But we do have other intakes during the year. This intake on the 16th of May, you would start with a single subject and halfway through the study session. So the study sessions are normally 14 weeks, 12 to 14 weeks. You would have the option of picking up a second subject, and I call it the ease back into study mode. So a single fundamental level subject, like for instance in project or security in fundamentals, or a communications type subject. You do that for 6 or 8 weeks, get into your study mode, get yourself up and running, and then have the option of then adding a second subject, starting a second subject. So it's a good way to get back into study. Okay, we might leave it there. If you've got any inquiries, you can email us at that there. Or lo and behold, people do ring, not very often, but they you can ring us on that number there, or type them in here. And don't forget, we've got a couple of bottles of the beautiful drop, the CSU Boutique Wines from the CSU School of Wine Science on offer. One of the people answering the questions is Neil, and he's the sole judge. He does take bribes, but he's the sole judge of who gets the wine at the end of it. And I'll leave it up to him to advise you as we go through. Okay, well, thanks for listening. We'll leave this open. As I say, you can continue to type in questions as you're going forward, and hope to see you one day at CSU, and love to share a CSU wine with you at graduation one day. Thanks very much.